Good afternoon and welcome to Center on Halsted. Today we celebrate, today is a beautiful day, and today we are proud. The Center on Halsted is a beacon of hope for thousands of LGBTQ people and their allies who travel from all over the city of Chicago to find a safe and nurturing environment. Our mission is to advance the health and well-being of LGBTQ people through holistic programming that touches the lives of 1,000 people every day. From youth struggling with homelessness to our seniors celebrating their authentic selves, to community members struggling with coming out and others living with HIV, and families who come to the center, as one mother said, "I come here to raise my child to be a loving human being." We are the diversity, we are the rainbow. We opened the center in 2007 after a 5-year capital campaign, of which many of these elected officials helped to open this historical building, a monument and a beacon of hope for the city of Chicago. And among those leaders who helped make this dream a reality is our Governor, J.B. Pritzker. Governor Pritzker is no stranger to our community, for he has been fighting to advance equality for years. Today, once again, we come together under his leadership to make history in this great state of Illinois. With the signing of 4 important bills that advances our community across so many dimensions. We will continue to make Illinois a leader in this country to becoming the most inclusive and equitable state. It is my honor to welcome Governor J.B. Pritzker.
Thank you very much, Tico. It is so great to be back here at the Center on Halsted. I must say, you are always very welcoming. I appreciate very much the work that you do at the Center on Halsted, and I want to thank your entire family, the Center on Halsted family, for welcoming us and for hosting us here today. Most importantly, thank you for all that you do for the members of the LGBTQ plus community so that it can thrive here in Chicago. And of course, you create an example and a place of refuge for people all across the state of Illinois and all across the Midwest. And I just came from Hyde Park, where First Lady M.K. Pritzker and Lieutenant Governor Juliana Stratton and I convened a roundtable with leaders in Chicago's transgender and gender nonconforming community. On good days like today, where we get to mark progress in policy, I find it all the more important to connect with those on the ground, fighting these fights every single day on the work that's still left to do. I'm grateful to all who took the time to share their lives, their challenges, their resilience with me and with MK and with Juliana. And I want to recognize the conversation's host, who's here with us today, Lasiah Wade. Would you mind standing, Lasiah? Are you? There you are. Lasiah, of course, leads the Brave Space Alliance, and there were many people who joined us in that conversation this morning. I'm really grateful for you helping to organize that, Lasiah. In our continuing efforts to shape a safer and more inclusive Illinois, my administration is on a mission to lift up and empower those who too often have been overlooked or forgotten. This afternoon, the state of Illinois is taking another step to advance our mission, to overcome those obstacles and truly make a great state, a welcoming state for so many across the nation, but especially for those who live right here in the state of Illinois. With us today, of course, are members of the General Assembly, leaders who have been the tip of the spear on this effort. I'm so proud to be joined by legislative sponsors Senator Robert Peters, Laura Fine, and Sarah Feigenholtz, all senators. I don't want to miss the titles here. My senator, Sarah Feigenholtz, my former state rep, Sarah Feigenholtz. Very proud to have standing with me. Never want to forget her because you might not get your street paved. And Representatives Carol Ammons, who's with us today from Champaign, Ann Williams, and Margaret Croak. I really appreciate, well, Margaret is now my state rep, so please make sure my road is paved. But seriously, these are true leaders in the General Assembly who have done so much to make all of this possible today. Let me also welcome Senator Mike Simmons, Leader Greg Harris, Representative Sam Yingling, and Joyce Mason, and of course the advocates who are in the room. There are many of you who are in the audience, but I especially want to recognize Shannon Parker with Howard Brown Health and Tim Jackson of the AIDS Foundation of Chicago, and so many other voices who've been responsible for today's milestones. It's great to be with you to mark yet another step in Illinois' journey towards a more just and safe future for all of our residents. For 30 years and long before I became governor, I have imagined that Illinois could become a beacon of equality and hope for the national LGBTQ community, and Illinois is succeeding at it. We made it the law of our land to provide financial aid to transgender students who otherwise would be denied. We brought inclusive curriculum into our schools so our people grow up knowing the contributions that the LGBTQ community and LGBTQ people have made throughout history. We expanded Medicaid to cover gender-affirming surgery. And we put into place the Getting to Zero plan to end HIV in Illinois in a decade. Today, our success continues. In a few minutes, I'll sign 4 new bills into law that advance Illinoisans' ability to live the fullest lives as their truest selves. That starts with one of the most personal decisions in life, the choice to start a family. Already, too few states recognize the need to cover fertility treatments in healthcare. But even those who do tend to have narrow definitions of who can qualify that leave single parents, LGBTQ couples, and women over 35 behind. Well, beginning January 1st, Illinois will chart a new path forward with more inclusive, gender-neutral language in our insurance code that offers meaningful discrimination protections for accessing these treatments. Already, fertility journeys can be deeply expensive, personal, and emotional. And I'm very proud to sign a law that removes a part of that burden for the would-be parents of Illinois. We're also advancing equality in how we issue marriage licenses. 2 other bills I'll sign today make it so that a couple can choose to have a marriage certificate free of gender-identifying language. And because everyone deserves to see their identity properly represented on paper, allows already married couples to go back and change a previously issued certificate. In addition to the bill sponsors, I want to recognize Equality Illinois and the Chicago House and Social Service Agency for their dedicated work on this issue. Finally, we're repealing Illinois' archaic HIV criminalization law, the likes of which swept the nation during the earlier years of the AIDS crisis. Research has shown these laws don't decrease infection rates. They don't decrease infection rates, but they do increase stigma. It's high time that we treat HIV as we do other treatable, transmissible diseases, thereby treating our residents with dignity and furthering our mission to end this epidemic in Illinois. So with that, I'm very proud to turn the podium over to my partner in Springfield, truly a leader, an incredible voice for diversity and equity and opportunity, and that, of course, is our Lieutenant Governor, Juliana Stratton.
Good afternoon. I'm Juliana Stratton, and I use she, her pronouns. Thank you, Governor Pritzker, for your kind words, and thank you for your consistent leadership You not only talk the talk, but you walk the walk, and I'm always so proud to be partnered with you. It's an honor to be back here at the Center on Halsted. Thank you, Modesto, to you and your staff for hosting us in this beautiful facility. And thank you for the work that you do every single day to build community and create safe spaces for members of our LGBTQ+ community. I certainly want to acknowledge all of my friends and former colleagues of the Illinois General Assembly, including those who led the charge as sponsors of the bills that the governor will sign today. They have already been acknowledged, so in the interest of time, I'll just say thank you for your incredible leadership. It's really, really powerful work that I know would not have been possible without some incredible partners and advocates in the LGBTQ+ community, many of whom are here today. Thank you all for doing your part in building a more just and equitable Illinois. Today, we gather in the spirit of justice, equity, and opportunity, and in the spirit of righting wrongs, making clear our values and the ongoing work of transforming our state to become more inclusive and equitable for all. Activist Marsha P. Johnson said it best when she said, "You never completely have your rights, one person, until you have all your rights." So today's bill signing is about acknowledging that Illinois has indeed made some incredible strides in advancing LGBTQ+ rights, but we are not done. There is still more work to do, and our administration is committed to repairing the harm that has been done by outdated policies that fail to honor the humanity of every Illinoisan. In signing House Bill 2590 and Senate Bill 139 into law, we solidify the right to not be misgendered, being more inclusive of our non-binary and genderqueer individuals. In signing House Bill 3709 into law, we solidify the right to have a family and pursue that family through all available health care options, including for same-sex couples. And we know that policies that criminalized HIV and AIDS are rooted in homophobia and have contributed to the disproportionate incarceration of Black and brown people. In signing House Bill 1063 into law, instead of criminalizing more people, instead we are protecting future generations from entanglement in our criminal legal system. To our LGBTQ+ siblings across Illinois, I want you to know that we see you, and we hear you, and we stand with you. And at a time where dozens of states are filing bill after bill with an anti-LGBTQ+ agenda and targeting trans rights, hear me when I say that here in Illinois, we will continue the important work of ensuring that this is a state that is safe for you to be your authentic selves, and that the rights that are afforded to every Illinoisan are also available to you without restriction, just as you deserve. I look forward to doing this collective work alongside Governor Pritzker, members of the Illinois General Assembly, and all of you to make Illinois the most equitable state in the nation. It is now my pleasure to introduce a tremendous leader and advocate who has been quite an amazing partner and friend to our administration, Shannon Parker of Howard Brown Health. Shannon?
Good afternoon, everybody. So I am Shannon Lynn Parker, she, her pronouns. I am the Director of Community and Strategic Partnerships at Howard Brown Health. Today further exemplifies why I am a proud Illinoisan. Under the leadership of Governor Pritzker, legislators, advocates, and fierce champions such as Senators Sarah Feichenholtz, Laura Fine, and Robert Peters. Representatives Ann Williams, Margaret Croak, and Carol Amons, Chicago House Social Service Agency, and Equality Illinois. LGBTQ folks across our state have 4 less barriers to contend with, which will support in their access to thrive and the reduction of antiquated barriers. These bills are not just about granting special privileges as some may see it. These bills are the recognition that LGBTQ plus individuals within our states and beyond are full citizens who are deserving of the fullest protection of the law, which is a right inalienable regardless of orientation, identity, race, or background. Through the signing of these bills, the state of Illinois sends a resounding message to our country and community that we will not allow for the stronghold of harmful and discriminatory laws to prevail. The passing of House Bill 1063 repeals and dismantles the state's outdated HIV criminalization law, which threatened prosecution and incarceration to people living with HIV. HIV criminalization does not provide safety or public health in Illinois. Instead, it harms and stigmatizes people living with HIV, their families, and their communities. SB 139 and HB 2590 allows individuals to correct or remove gendered language from marriage certificates and ensures that the correct name is used on these important legal documents. This reduces unnecessary barriers for members of the TGNC community to gain legal access to documentation that accurately reflects who they are. And HB 3709 amends the Illinois Insurance Code to be inclusive of LGBTQ families and single-parent households. This new law will help to ensure that all people who want to start families will be protected against discrimination in seeking coverage for the diagnosis and treatment of infertility. Protection and safety are not just reserved for a privileged few. It is our duty to improve and secure access for all. To the members of the General Assembly, Illinois Senate, and the Governor's Office, I thank you. To our fierce advocates and activists on the ground, fighting and doing the day-to-day work, please keep making good trouble. LaSaya Wade, thank you. Thank you all. Thank you all so much for joining us, and I'd like to introduce Senator Peters. Thank you.
Good afternoon. This is a historic day. I want to thank Governor Pritzker, Lieutenant Governor Stratton. I want to thank Rep. Carol Ammons, who was bold and creative in making this happen. And I want to especially thank the advocates of the Illinois HIV Action Alliance. This was driven by people organizing and fighting each and every day. Too often, when faced with a challenge in society, we seek the hammer of criminalization. When we use that hammer, it disproportionately destroys the lives of Black, Latinx, Indigenous, and Asian people. When we faced the challenge of HIV, our country reacted out of fear, prejudice, and hate, and with that brought down a violent and horrendous hammer. In turn, this caused more fear, pain, and trauma for people living with HIV. It did nothing to bring safety or treatment or public health to our world. The decriminalization of HIV is about moving away from the stigma of HIV, moving away from anti-Black racism and anti-LGBTQ plus discrimination. We got here because it is okay to be angry, to act up, to be persistent, to fight for a better world. It is about seeing all Illinoisans as neighbors, loving each other as a state community. Public safety is investing in public health and treatment and not public jails. To put it another way, give people PrEP, not prisons. Public safety belongs to all of us, and today we move one step closer to that reality. Thank you. Next up, a tenacious fighter, downstate Central Illinois, Representative Carol Ammons.
Thank you, Senator Peters. Today it ends, and I'm so honored to be a part of such a historical moment. First of all, I want to thank our governor. Our governor is bold, and he's courageous. And downstate, every time I see something that is anti-Pritzker, I take it personally, because he's saving not just our communities, but he's saving the entire state of Illinois, and he deserves the recognition for that work. To my former colleague, Lieutenant Governor Stratton, she is amazing, and we all know that. And all of the advocates who've done this work, we can't do what we do without you. And I'll just tell you a very quick story. When Tim Jackson called my office, actually I called him about a different bill. And he said, Rep, I need to talk to you about something else. Can we set up another time? And I said, absolutely. So he set up another time. A Zoom was set up, and me and Mike Ziri and Tim were on the call. And he said, you know, we have this law on the books that criminalizes HIV. I said, really? He said, oh yeah, it's since 1986, it's been on the books, and people with HIV are threatened with this law, and only a few people have been charged with this, and most of them are people of color, and we need to do something about this. So I said, well, send me the information. He did. I immediately read it, and I looked at it, and I said, this has got to be some kind of archaic joke. We don't criminalize STDs or COVID or any other disease that is a public health issue. This is a health issue, yet we have a law on the books that criminalizes people. I said, no, we got to remove that. He said, yes, that's what we want to do. So he sent me the language. That's exactly what we set out to do. But we ran into a few barriers because people didn't know, like I didn't know, that this was even still on the books. And so my colleague, Senator Peters, he said, I don't know, Carol, I don't know if we can get it done in the Senate. You know I tell the truth all the time. It's the truth. We got to tell the truth. We got to tell people how this works so we can get it done. Well, you know, we just happened to have a Black Caucus meeting one night over in Springfield, and who walks in the door but the President of the Senate? And you know I ain't going to miss an opportunity. I said, President, we got this thing, and we got to do it, and Senator Peters is working hard, and I really need your support to do this. I said, but I'm going to pass it in the House. And he said, okay. So we did. We passed it in the House, and he kept his word, and he worked with Senator Peters to get it passed in the Senate. That's how this works. And so for us, we got to continue to educate people, because it's not just about me as a rep or him as a senator. It's about the work of Equality Illinois. It's about Personal PAC, right? It's about the Chicago AIDS Foundation that reaches all the way to Champaign. It's about people knowing how to change these policies so their lives can be improved. That's what this is truly about. And so I'm honored to be even an advocate in the House to just simply do that. And so the work that the governor is going to sign today will stop the archaic process of criminalization of people with HIV, but also removing the demoralization that their families experience as a result. Because it's not just about the individual, it's also about their families. And that's what we're here to do. I also want to highlight something very important my colleagues did in this package, which is also to change what has happened around marriage certificates. I was on the county board in Champaign County when we passed the first civil union bill in Champaign County. We then had an opportunity to pass it in marriage in the House. And now we are correcting again the record so that people can live with dignity in their families the way they are supposed to be able to do. And I just happen to be married to a great clerk, Champaign County Clerk Aaron Ammons, who's here with me. And he is going to make sure that when people walk in his office, there are no barriers when they come in to activate what the governor is going to sign for those families today, because that's how we complete the circle. So I am so excited to be a part of a great General Assembly. I'm excited to be a part of a great movement that is removing criminalization in every aspect of the work, because we know that there are many bills put on the books that are anti-Black, anti-youth, anti-this, anti-that. We want to take them all out. We want to make sure there's gender-neutral language in our code. We want to make sure that people have a real opportunity in the state of Illinois. And today signifies that we're serious. So we are so thankful for all the work that every member has done to do this work, and all of the advocates and all of you, because if you were not pushing from the other side, sometimes it takes a lot longer to get it done. But we are honored to be with you today. Thank you all so much. Thank you, Governor Pritzker. Thank you, MK, for being such an amazing woman. And thank you to our Lieutenant Governor, who stands firm on all of these issues. Thank you so much. And my pleasure it is to bring up my colleague, Representative Croak, for the next bill to be signed today. Thank you all so much.
Good afternoon, everyone. I now know I have a deal with after this press conference. So I'm really proud to be here today to see legislation become law that will make Illinois a more inclusive place for all. More than a year ago, before I was even sworn into office, Dr. Zachary Marcus, who's actually joining us today, a constituent in my district, reached out to me to share his experience with the injustices in our state's current insurance law. It was a barrier to him and his husband to wanting to start a family, specifically financially. So the current definition of infertility in our insurance law, which had been in place for decades, denied coverage for fertility treatments for LGBTQ couples, single individuals, and it also created an arbitrary timestamp for women over 35 who had certain medical conditions, putting dreams of parenthood financially out of reach for far too many who want to welcome a child into their family. As a new mother myself, at the time I had a 3-month-old son when Dr. Zachary Marcus called me. It was a real gut punch, and I'll tell you right now, he's 18 months, and being a mom is super hard, but he is the best thing that ever happened to me. And the idea that I had that opportunity to have my child, and if I had problems conceiving, I'd have access, but Dr. Marcus and his husband wouldn't, was just so cruel to me. I couldn't sit down and not do anything about it. So I got to work trying to set things right for LGBTQ couples like Gary and Dr. Marcus, single individuals, and others looking to start or grow their families, but facing discriminatory barriers in our insurance code. So I found an amazing partner in Senator Laura Fine, which I'm really excited to invite her up in a moment. And I'm so grateful to be standing here to see Governor Pritzker sign this. So thank you, Governor. Because of this legislation and because Dr. Marcus shared his story with me all those months ago, we are expanding insurance coverage to so many Illinoisans and sending a strong message across this state that Illinois is a place where all families are welcome. So thank you. And with that, it's my pleasure to invite Senator Laura Fine up.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Representative Croak, for entrusting me with this legislation, because when you called me up, and I've dealt with a number of pieces of insurance legislation in the past, I saw this as our next challenge and the next wrong that needed to be righted. And that's absolutely what we were able to do. I also want to thank my colleagues, because in order to pass anything in the General Assembly, the saying is 30-61. 30 votes in the Senate, 60 votes in the House, and then, as we'll see today, the governor's signature for something to become law. So today is one of those days that I like to sit back and reflect upon why I'm proud to be from Illinois. We are a state that thrives on our diversity, our inclusion, and our desire to allow everyone to live their best life. This new law continues along that path. It recognizes that no two families are the same, and it supports all of us who want to grow our own unique families. This law supports our friends, our neighbors, while recognizing a family is your personal choice at any age, with any partner you choose, or even to do it on your own. We want to support everyone as you take this amazing step that is so life-changing into parenthood. We all know who've been able to experience this exactly how life-saving it is, because if you talk to any of us, the first thing we talk about is our kids. And that's such a proud moment for everybody. And it's so exciting for me today to say that nobody will be excluded from enjoying that privilege because of finances. So this is a day of pride. It is a day of celebration. It brings hope, and it fills our hearts knowing that this new law will help so many people fulfill the lifelong dream of becoming a parent. So thank you. And with that, I'd like to introduce my former colleague from the House, the incredible Representative Ann Williams.
Thank you. My name is Ann Williams, and I'm State Representative for the 11th District. And wow, it is so great to be here today in such a warm and welcoming space in person. I'm grateful to Governor Pritzker, First Lady M.K. Pritzker, our Lieutenant Governor, my amazing colleagues, committed staff, and the wonderful advocates that are here today. So a marriage certificate is so much more than a piece of paper. It reflects the foundation of a partnership, the foundation of a family. It's a symbol of love and commitment to a partner. It should accurately reflect who you are, but for many Illinoisans, it hasn't. But now it can, and it will. The simple changes we are proposing today, which will ensure marriage certificates are accurate both in terms of name and gender, may seem small at first, but they are incredibly significant to those who they impact. Every Illinoisan deserves this. It shouldn't be dependent on where you live or the willingness of your local clerk to accommodate you and your family. We must be identity affirming, inclusive, and real, even when it comes to the most basic of government services, like creating and keeping records. But beyond this, today's collection of bills sends the critical messages to all of Illinois that we welcome every person here as you are for who you are. As our Lieutenant Governor so eloquently said, we see you, we hear you, and we affirm who you are. You are Illinois. I am so honored to be here today for this important day and signing these bills that will make a difference in the lives of everyday Illinoisans. Thank you, Governor Pritzker, for your ongoing commitment to equality for all Illinois families. And with that, I introduce my colleague and co-sponsor, Senator Sarah Feigenholt.
Hello, everyone. It's always great to bat cleanup. This is Wrigley Field, 2 blocks away, with all of these incredible leaders. This is a historic day. We're in a very historic room where many people from the LGBTQ community have gathered to celebrate victories, to strategize about how to celebrate victories. And as many of my colleagues said, a lot of this wouldn't happen if we didn't have a governor who, before he was governor, long before he was governor, was in his heart, in his soul, he was always on the same page and standing with this community. That is why I support him, and I am just thrilled that we are here today to do this. Imagine being a state legislator and someone walks into your office or calls you and tells you that their spouse has been denied hospital visitation, or that they have been denied their spouse's employer's health insurance because their gender pronouns and their names were not aligned on their marriage certificates. This is what we do. We hear you, we listen to you, we get in there and we change laws. It is absolutely amazing, however, that all of these laws passed the same year they were proposed. How about that? Let's give it up. Take note that Illinois is so unique. I read the paper. I'm sure everybody in this room tunes into what is going on around the country when it comes to tons of anti-transgender and anti-LGBTQ legislation. But Illinois is a beacon. We stand as a progressive state, and as Lieutenant Governor Stratton says, we stand for justice, and that's what today is. It's about justice. Today we tell our LGBTQ and our transgender community and family and siblings that you are now taking another step in being your authentic selves, that we love you and that we have your back. You're standing in the most progressive Senate district. I have to give Senate District 6 a plug, where this journey began. But again, I want to thank everyone for being here, and I want to introduce Tim Jackson from the AIDS Foundation of Chicago. God bless everybody.
My name is Timothy Jackson, Director of Government Relations for AIDS Foundation of Chicago, pronouns he, him, and his. Now, I do want to let you all know I am the son and grandson of Baptist preachers, but I promise you I won't be up here too long. So, to Governor Pritzker, Lieutenant Governor Stratton, Representative Ammon, Senator Peters, other esteemed members of the Illinois General Assembly, and those gathered with us today, it is indeed an honor and a privilege to offer remarks on behalf of the Illinois HIV Action Alliance, a statewide coalition of advocates and organizations committed to repealing the state's law criminalizing people living with HIV. As a person living with HIV for nearly 12 years, it also brings me profound pleasure to represent the people and communities most impacted by not only HIV and AIDS, but by this stigmatizing and discriminatory law. We know that the most effective way to address the HIV epidemic is through testing and treatment. However, HIV-related stigma, discrimination, and criminalization act as barriers to the state's goal of ending the HIV epidemic in Illinois by 2030. Today is indeed a historic day, as Illinois will become the second state in the nation to fully repeal its HIV criminalization statute. To reach this momentous milestone required a team of advocates and people living with HIV working together to end social stigma and criminalization surrounding HIV. While time does not permit me to thank every single person and over 100 organizations who supported this effort, I would like to take a moment to recognize those who testified in committee hearings in support of House Bill 1063, Tom Hughes of the Illinois Public Health Association, Dr. Corey Bloom of Howard Brown Health, and Gerlandi Guidetti of ACLU of Illinois. I would also like to recognize the Coalition Steering Committee members for their tireless commitment to this great work. AIDS Foundation Chicago, ACLU of Illinois, Chicago House and Social Services, Equality Illinois, Howard Brown Health, Illinois Public Health Association, Lambda Legal, Legal Counsel for Health Justice, Pride Action Tank, Christian Castro, Betty Donoval, and Liz Bilek. We would also like to thank our national partners in this work, the Elizabeth Taylor AIDS Foundation, the Sarah Project, and Positive Women's Network USA. And I would be remiss without thanking our two legislative sponsors, State Representative Carol Ammons and State Senator Robert Peters, for your leadership in advancing this measure. The coalition could not have been blessed with two finer legislative champions, and we are forever grateful. We also want to thank the bill co-sponsors and legislators who supported House Bill 1063 in a bipartisan way. As I close, I want to share with you some words penned by the great Black lesbian poet Audre Lorde. When I speak of change, I do not mean a simple switch of positions or a temporary lessening of tensions, nor the ability to smile or feel good. I am speaking of a basic and radical alteration in those assumptions underlining our lives. Signing House Bill 1063 into law today is a seismic sea change in addressing the HIV epidemic in Illinois and is a perfect illustration of the basic and radical alteration that the poet so brilliantly lauded 40 years ago. With the stroke of the governor's pen today, people living with HIV can now breathe a sigh of relief knowing that our medical condition will no longer be criminalized. The Illinois HIV Action Alliance commends Governor Pritzker and his administration and the Illinois General Assembly for being invaluable partners in this great work. And with that, we'll invite Governor Pritzker up for the bill signing. Thank you.
What's the math on this? I've got 10 pens and 4 bills. Take our seats, and I'm happy to take any questions from members of the media. Of course, if you have questions for the bill sponsors, happy to turn it over to them as well.
House Bill 1063 really impacts the state's economy and why that was critical in that bill?
The HIV criminalization. If you don't mind, I'll turn it over to.
We had an opportunity, to do a little bit of research around it, because I really wanted to see how many people were actually charged with this. So not only was it outdated, but we had about maybe 80-something people that had been charged since '86, since it was put on the books across the country. And we knew that that was way too many people, one too many people. And so that's what really started this whole effort. The state's attorneys certainly, usually they're willing to follow the law. Thank God to Governor Pritzker signing that bill today. And we look forward to working with our state's attorneys to make sure they get the information and how the new law is going to be structured.
Is that effective immediately?
It is effective immediately, yes. Yes.
Is that the same for each one? I'm sorry.
I'm not sure about all of them.
I think their effective dates are slightly different on each one. But yeah. I'll get to you. Yeah.
All right, thank you.
Absolutely. Do you want to have anything to add? Yeah.
Subject.
Yes.
Say right now the CDC is changing their mask guidelines. Can you comment on that?
Yeah, I have not seen the changes. I know there are a variety of very particular changes regarding masking, in particular, as I understand, for people who may have some pre-existing conditions who are already vaccinated. So I'll be reviewing all of it. And, as you know, we have followed the CDC science and guidelines since we moved to phase 5. We continue to look at that scientific evidence for how we will operate in the state of Illinois.
It is advising that everybody in schools, regardless of vaccination status, be masked.
So there's no doubt that will weigh heavily on decisions that I'll make about what we should do for the state of Illinois. So just give me an opportunity to read it.
You and I talked about this the other day. So at what point do there are the small business owners who so bad that another shutdown looms. What can you say to those folks?
Well, you keep using that term, the S word, and the truth is, they are mitigations. What we're attempting to do is to look at masks and the most effective thing that you can do, which is to get vaccinated. Get vaccinated. Do I need to say that again? Please, everybody, get vaccinated if you are not already vaccinated. And that's why we've made it available everywhere. There's testing and vaccinations available, and people should wear their masks, particularly if you're unvaccinated as of yet. You're still learning more information. You want to be educated about it. Wear your mask when you go out, particularly in a, when you're among lots of other people. I would also encourage, and I haven't seen the CDC guidelines for today, so, but I would also encourage anybody who just feels uncomfortable. You may be vaccinated, but if you feel uncomfortable in a group setting and you're not wearing your mask, put your mask on. Take your mask with you everywhere you go, because I've seen that, I've felt that in certain circumstances where it makes me feel better and protect myself and my family if I wear the mask. But I will say, 99% of the people who are dying now of COVID-19, 99% are unvaccinated. Think about that. That's a far cry from much earlier in this pandemic. Now we know that if you're vaccinated, you're protected. That doesn't mean you can't get COVID, but it does mean, and I know people who've gotten COVID after being vaccinated, that you'll spend a couple of days. Different people react differently, but many people spend a few days in bed feeling bad, don't need to go to the hospital, and then are able to recover. And that is what we hope in the end the vaccines ultimately will do, is just keep everybody from having to go into the hospital and keeping them from getting very sick or dying, and it seems to be working.
Can I ask just one last follow-up?
Yes, sir.
You said you plan to go to Lala.
The L word, yeah.
The L word.
Well, another L word, yeah.
Do you still plan to do that? And can events like that, are you confident that the World Series, if it comes to 35th Street, can move forward?
It's coming to Wrigley before it's but I pray for you nonetheless. Look, like I said, I plan to go to Lollapalooza, but I also know I'm going to watch every single day what it looks like in terms of cases rising and make decisions, smart decisions for myself, for my family, for our friends as we move forward. And yeah, I may wear a mask when I'm at Lala, depending upon whether I can social distance or not. I think we all need to pay close attention. This pandemic is not over. It is not over. We would like it to be over, but it is not yet over. And we know that if people remain unvaccinated, there is a greater and greater possibility that you'll have a variant that ultimately will break through the vaccines that have already been developed, and that someone could get very sick as a result. So that's why we want to encourage everybody to get vaccinated. But as far as I'm concerned, if you're outside and you're among lots of other people and you feel uncomfortable, please wear your mask when you are in that circumstance. And certainly that's the case indoors as well.
I know you've got more than I do, but I'll put this on 35th Street.
You must be looking for odds.
Okay, thanks everyone.
Thank you.